Hello everyone! So back to again with me. Not everyone. Hello myself. Back to again with me. So today I will making another video because right now the next day from yesterday. So I will continue with a chapter about about women. Part 2, further example of courtship, marriage, and the family among bird. So because uh, yesterday about bird and mammal, right? But I will upload this video next week. Of course, yeah, in this week because mm, to make variative for myself when I'm evaluating, oh, the day for day I'm making video about that, oh, about that, and next week, oh, video about that, so like that. Even maybe some in the same day I'm making, I think, two videos here every day because not every day also, but I'm try because I still have another activity to care about home also, and join in Zoom like webinar discussion to get knowledge. And I'm still watching not just a movie, but I'm watching YouTube also to make my mind more productive, because in this phase I think not just my body have activity, but my brain still activity. So yeah, even right now I'm trying to productive, but I can have money from my productive. It's okay, but I'm still happy because yeah, my brain still uh exercise every day, especially about English, right? So yeah, that's it. And yeah, I will read it and I will give explanation, not explanation, point of view, and try to remember my memories about this topic, because it's really long text. So is, I think I spend more time for that. So it is especially upon the efflorescence of male beauty among birds that Darwin founded in celebrated theory of sexual selection. The motley of display seems endless: beautiful plums, elongated, feathery traces, neck robes, breasts, shield, brightly colored cowls, and wattles occur with marvelous richness of variety. Now, can we accept the Darwinian theory and believe that all these appendages of beauty, as well as the sexual weapon, power of song, movement, have been developed through the preference of the females, the sounder and more ornamental males becoming in this way the parent of its successive generation, while I say as is well known opposed Darwin view, preparing to regard sexual selection as manifestation of natural selection. He has been followed by other naturalists who have denied this creative power of love, being unable to credit conscious choice by the female of the most gifted males. The controversy of the question has been long and the time violent, yet it always seems, as so often happens in all disagreement, that the differentiation in opinion is more apparent than founded on the fact. There is really no difficulty if once we understand the true significance of courtship. What is it? I have tried to make it clear. during the excitement of pairing, the male bird are in condition of the most perfect development and possess an enormous store by superabundant vitality. This, as may readily be understood, may well express itself in brilliant color and superfluities of ornamental color, ornamental plumage, as also in the song, in dancing, and love tournament. And in the battle, the fact that we have to remember is that the female is most easily won by the male, who being himself much charged with the sex desire, and through this means reaching the finished development is able to create a corresponding intoxication in her and choose by producing in both the most perfect condition power of the chains of reproduction. There's no need whatever to suppose any conscious choices or spatial aesthetic perception on the part of the female. Great effects are everywhere produced in nature by simply causes. The female responds to stimulus of the right male at the right moment. That's really the whole matter. In this instance, brought power in the previous section of this chapter of the universal hunger of sex, which are partly typical and are completely, as my speech will allow, certain facts have become clear in the first place. We have seen something of the strong driving of the procreative function, which is the guarantee of the continuation and development of life. The importance of the result to be gained explain the diverse and elaborate phenomena of courtship. The higher we ascend in the animal kingdom, the stronger does the sex appetite become. It vibrates in the nerve center, giving rises to violent emotion which intensify all the physical and physic activity. Love is a great creative force. It awakens impression and desire in the individual, giving rise to what may be called experiment in creative self-expression, to the energy of which we owe the very and marvelous phenomena in animal life. A further causes arising from the development of love is certainly of not less important. It is beginning of life, not wholly individualistic. It is in the sexual passion we must seek the origin of social growth. This is evident we have since the sexual union induced durable association between the female and the male for the object of rearing the young. Here already we find that truth which it is the chief purpose of this book to make plain, that the individual exists for the race. This is the new and practical morality of the biological view, which is regard the individual as primarily the host and servant of the seed of life, and this is really of the greatest benefit to the individual. From the surface to the future arises the family and the home. The familial instinct, more or less developed, may be traced far back in the scale of life. And as it gains in the strength in the extent from the family into the wider social love, which is in the some species, result in the forming of societies grouped together for mutual protection and cooperation in communal activity. A rough outline of society is just found established already in the animal kingdom. Just as there were many different forms of sexual association among our animal ancestors, so we may be observed the two chief forms of human society, the matricate and the patricate, or maternal and paternal family. It is the formal that is the most frequent, this is what we should expect. The female, the mother, as the natural center of the family, the male, her servant in the procreative act. But apart from this, we find him most frequently following personal interests. The female love for the young is stronger and more developed than his. I lay stress upon this fact for the show how strongly planted in a woman in the maternal instinct. I doubt if any woman can ever find true expression for her nature apart from motherhood. It is this past history of life development that we may find the key for its purpose or meaning of us. There is another point of special importance to us in estimating the true places of human in society. This early portion of the female proves conclusively, as we shall see more clearly later when we come to study the primitive human family. The importance of the mother and her children as the founder of society, one by reason of her more intimate connection with the children and the home, became the center of the social group, while the male, less bound by domestic ties, were able to wander but come back to the home, driven by their sexual need to return to their family, but without giving more time her to this question, to which I shall return later. There is further consideration arising from our study of the family habit among the bird and mammal, and now must claim our attention. Certain examples I have come across, in particular among birds, have forced into my mind, though a widely accepted belief. I put forward my opinion with great differences. It is so easy to interpret fact by the bias of one on wishes I know what. The cases have found and studied are probably few in comparison, which others have missed. But to me, they seem of such as important by the light they throw on the whole question of the position of the sexes that it seems necessary to bring them forward. We must go back to the position we left some time back of the differences between the secondary sexual character of the male and the female. We have followed the development of the male under the action of love section. From his first insignificant portion in the reproductive process, we have seen him become larger and the female strong, jealous, and masterful, and the fact a kind of fighting specialization with the special weapon of defense of sex battle. This is the general condition among mammals. Among birds, another set of secondary character that may be classed as a beauty taste are more frequent. Now two questions must be answered. Can it be proved that all this acquired development of strength and of beauty belong exclusively to the males, that they must be regarded as a proof of the greater tendency to diversity in the male, which has carried him further in the evolution process than the female? Can it also be proved that such a highly marked differentiation between the sexes is in all cases necessary to reproduction? There is heightened male attractiveness is progressive force in the surface of the race. If so, example will surely point in the direction of finding that among those species where the sexual character of the male, whether of strength or of beauty, are most different from the female, sexual love will find it the most perfect expression, and further that the males in such a case will be the most highly developed, the best parent, and the most social in their habit. the whole question. I think it must be evident turn upon this being proved. But in the space of the fact before us, this is just what we do not find among birds, who in erotic development for excel all other animal, not in that, excepting the human species and choose must be accepted as affording the most perfect example of sexual development. We have seen that the cases are not few in which the female equal or even exceed the female in the size and in the strength. This is so with the crow, the merlin, the dunlin, the black-tailed godwit, which is considerably larger than the male, and the osprey where the female is also more spotted on the breast. This is example must be added to just I have already given pages 58. If we turn now the beauty test of the brilliancy of plums, we may observe an even larger number of examples of almost identical likeness between the sexes. Among breeds, bird alone there are no fewer than 3 species or subspecies, in which the female closely resemble that female. In some view of this example, it is true the color of the female are slightly duller, and in other, the female is rather smaller than the male, but differences in each cases in varies like it is especially significant to note that the similarity of plumage occur in some the most beautiful of our birds, as for instance the kingfisher and the jay, where the brilliant dresses of the sexes are particularly alike. The female robin share the beauty of the male in the whole family of the charming since the sexes are alike. This is also the case with the roller bird with the gaily color plum, and there's no differences between the white elegancy of the male and the male swan. In the presence of such an example, it seems to me impossible to refrain from thinking that there is a mistake somewhere and that less important is to be attached to the secondary sexual character of the male than is generally imagined. Grant that these cases are exceptional, but we won't admit that among many species and this highly developed insects, the females show no evidence of retarded development. We should be forced also to break once for all with many beliefs and tried theories which have inspired on the subject of the sexual differences between the female and the male, so much dogmatic statement and so many unproved assumptions. I'm not forgetting the George's plum of some male bird and the contrast they offer with the plain female. What I wish to show is that such as adornment cannot be regarded as the necessary adjunct to the male and expression, in fact, the male constitution. I'm really tired. I'm trying to drink first because right now 89, right? So I have 11 pages left in this chapter. Fighting. Nor are they, as we shall find later, necessary or even beneficial in the highest degree to the reproductive process. I have an even more interesting cases to bring forward, which is to me seems to point very closely to what I'm trying to prove. The Phalaropus, both the gray and red-naked species, have a peculiarity unique among British birds, although shared by several other groups in different parts of the world. Among these birds, the role of the sexes is reversed. The duty of incubation and rearing the young are conducted entirely by the male bird, and in correlation with this habit, the female does all the courting, is stronger and more pugnacious than the male, and is also brighter in plumage. In color, they are a pale olive, very thickly spotted and sticky with the plague. The male is the physical mother, the female taking no notice of the nest after laying the egg. Frequently at the beginning of the breeding season, she is accompanied by more than one male. So it is evident that polyandry is practiced. Now, if such an example of the reversal of the sexes has any meaning at all, it seems to me that we find the conclusion forced upon us that the secondary sexual character are not necessarily different in the male and the female, but depend on the form of the union or marriage and the condition of the family. Professor Lester wrote in connection with his giant, giant hierarchic theory fully discussed this question. His conclusion is that is superiority of the male in strength and the size among mammals and in the beauty of plumage, which is also a symbol of worth among birds instead of indicating an arrested development in the female indicate an overdevelopment in the male. Male efflorescence in the epitome by which is Professor Watt designed it. He said, the whole phenomena of so-called male superiority bear a certain stem of superiousness and shame. It is so natural history what chivalry was to human history, a sort of make-believe play as part of nature of an every unsubstantial character. The male side of nature showed up and blooms up out in an unnatural, fantastic way, cutting loose from the real business of life and attracting a share of attention wholly disproportionate to its real importance. This may, I think, be regret as the picture's overstatement of what is it the main truth. Male afferences has drawn human itself and accept important to what we call is dramatic insistence human our notice. It is plain to what the more we examine the question, the more we are forced to one conclusion. It is certainly very suggestive as a professor would point out that those mammal emperor in which the process of male differentiation has gone farthest, such as lion, buffalo, stag, and sheep among mammal, and peacock, pigeon, turkey cock, and barred crow among birds do practically nothing for their family. Among the Gallinaceae, it is female who undertake the full burden of incubation and feeding and carrying for the young. During this time, the male is running after adventure. In some cases, he returns when his offspring are old enough to follow him and form a docile band under his government. The conduct of the male turkey is much worse, and he often differs the ages, which is have to be hidden by the mother, while later offspring are only safe from his attack. Large number of female and the young uniting in troop led by the mother. The polygamous family of monkey are always subject to patriarchal rule. The father is tyrant of the band and egoist. Any protection he affords to the family is in his own interest. Frequently, he expels the young males as soon as they are old enough to give him trouble. The daughters In some cases, he adds to his harem only when old age has rendered him powerless or the tables turn, and the young, for so long oppressed, rebel, and sometimes assassinate their tyrannous father. There is a very little evidence of paternal affection among mammals, even among monogamous species where the male keeps with the female. He does some more as chief than as a father. At the time, he's much inclined to commit infanticide and to destroy the offspring, which by absorbing the attention of this partner, threat is emerged just among the large felines, and the mother is obligated to hide her young ones from the male during the first few days after birth to prevent devouring them. It is important to note that among birds, the father devoid of affection generally belong to the less intelligent species. We may therefore see that this violent polygamous emerge of the male, which is result the development of the more extravagant of the second sexual character, are not really favorable to development of the species. They belong to lower grade of sexual evolution, and the further proof, it seems to me, is furnished as we note that in spite of this tyranny, the female show considerable affection for these tyrant males. The chimpanzee, for example, providing this is by jealously plucking the lice from her master coat, which with monkey is a mark of very special attention. The most oppressed female are as a rule the most faithful wives. Choose the female of the guanaco if their master chance to be wounded or killed. Do not run away, they hasten to his side, bleating and offering themselves to the shot of the hunter in order to shoot him, while in the sharp contrast in the female is himself. Must we say, then the female animal likes servitude. It is of course because the aggressive male, being the one to arouse her sexual passion, enable her to fulfill her work of procreation. This may be, but granting this explanation, it must be allowed that love under such a condition evidence a deterioration not alone in the size and strength of the female, but in mental capacity. Love at the much lower level than just beautiful cases in which the sexes are more alike, equal in capacity and cooperate together in the racetrack. Yet, in justice, it must be added that even the most polygamous males are not always devoid of affection. I once saw on the death of the one of his whips who had been killed by passing motor, he refused to leave the spot where her body lay and walk around and around it, uttering sharp cries of grief. Nor are sexual lapses confined to the male. A female will take advantages of a moment when the attention to the old coat is entirely absorbed by the anxiety of flight to run off with a young male, even among species noted for their conjugal fidelity. This is sometimes happen. Female pigeons, for example, have been known to fall violently in love with stray males, and this is especially common if the legitimate spouse is wounded or become weak. Darwin recorded a very curious cases of sudden patient appearing and the female wild duck, who after breeding with her own mallard for a couple of seasons, deserted him for stranger, a male pintail. It was evidently A case of love at the first sight. First she swam about the newcomer, caressingly, Truth appeared evidently alarmed, and averse to her overtures of affection. From that hour she forgot her old partner, winter paced by, and next piring the pintail seems to be have become a comfort to her blindest man, for they nested and produced 7 or 8 young ones. I am tempted to wait to consider the immense significances of such as cases. This is in the analogy they bear to our own sudden preference in love. The question as to the moral conduct, this does open up suggestion of just cases of exceptional love passion, which is all our existing institution, law, and penalty have never been able to cross. I drink first. Desire for sexual variety in the ultimate causes of all sexual lapses and irrationalities. It is mistake to think that this is condition peculiar to mankind and the result of civilization. If this were so, it would be easier to deal with. But before this deeply rooted instinct of sexual hunger, we are often powerless. I know of no question that needs to be faced by women more than this one. I would like to say more about it, but already this first section of my book has exceeded its limit. I must therefore pass on to draw attention to the fact clearly proved by the case of this wild dog of love, as well as by many other examples. That is the female who exercising the right of selection much more than the female introduce in individual preference into their sexual relation. The difficulty is that such a preference of profound biological importance is often threatened among civilized people by consideration of poverty and accepted morality. From this standpoint, permanent marriage may often fail to do justice to the sexual needs but of the individual and the wider need of the race. Nature has no care for sex moral, as we understand them, and any mode of sexual union is equal, right so long as it is served the race process, but mean have set up a whole host prohibition and convention, the social note of society and religion. Which are we to follow? Which is the wheat and which the tares that must be granted or sifted from our love? It is important to notice that the among mammals as among men conjugal fidelity is modified by the condition of life. An animal belonging to a species habitually monogamic may easily change under the pressure of external causes and adopt polygamy. And in some cases, polyandry, the silver dog, though normally monogamic, is said to practice polyandry when males are in excess, to male being inconstant and amicable, attendant on the female without sign of jealousy. Wild duck again, which are strictly monogamous, good parents, and very highly developed in social qualities, when in the wild state become loosely polygamous and indifferent to their offspring under domestication. Civilization, in this case, depraves the bird as often it does man. But enough. has now been said, we should find later how far the fact we have learned of the portion of the female and the sexual relation, as we have studied them is the example from the animal kingdom, will apply to us and to our love. We have now to study marriage and the family as it exists among primitive people. We shall find a close resemblance in the courtship custom and the sexual familial association to those we have since to be practiced by our pre-human ancestors. The same resemblance will persist when lastly we came to investigate the same institution among civilized race up to our own, in that we may have to admit that in some direction love is not even yet as a finally developed with us humans as it is among birds. It is the love of birds, as I believe, that we must seek hints to that evolution in Venus which has still not come in our love. One thing more, it referred to this put question of the differentiation of the sexes by the action of love selection. It is the truth that I wish as strongly as I am able to empires. We cannot learn to know love selective power by enclosing its action within the narrow circle of our preconceived idea. Instinct of limiting is a power we should extend it would hydrants of any form, to the female as well as the male, to the woman as to the man. We should regard nothing as what? As impossible. No development of either sex too great to be accomplished, knowing that all progress is possible to love power. Exceptional cases, then irregularities, it may be in sexual experience, will henceforth no longer surprise us. They will find their places in the infinite order of life. Such an example may come to be regret as a feeling in the chain. They form intermediate stage and also mark the reprint of early manifestation of the sexual hunger. The new morality of love, which is having its birth among us today, will be deeper and wider than old morality because it will be found in sure knowledge. That's it. Okay, so I think I'm not really want to give a statement for that because I think it's like to stronger the the story in the last or previously, because even the bird also and the monkey have concept patriarchal and matriarchal, and mostly for the bird is maternal, and even some bird also paternal, but mostly for the monkey is the paternal. So that's why in the family with the concept paternal must be egoistic. Yeah, I reflect for my family. My family is paternal. So some of 229. So yeah, some of family member Mostly egoist, yeah, mm, but I think it's not wrong also. Maybe when we are egoist, that's the skill for survive, right? And it's not I forgot what is sengaja, because the ecosystem, especially my parent, built my parent like that, and that's why my parent do it right that also. And I think they're not realize about it, because I think they are realize, but they not say it to us. But I realize about that is not good when I in the good environment, or opposite with this upper environment. But until right now, I agree with my uh, environment, how to family uh, show to us, because in the end, when in the career and the people around the home and the university, even in postgraduate, I think similar. Most of people egoist, but maybe also it's begin from me, because I think I'm not isolate myself, but I keep and I make boundaries. And so I think, and look, the environment look like that. But yeah, I think it's okay. I can blame also, because for me, the environment like that match. But in other people with the difference value in the family, is will be like uh not match, so fight right that. So yeah, I believe, and God give to me for my roadway of my life. And from this chapter also, I remember about, let's try to see, about superiority, right? I think my family, especially my parents, uh, between my father and mother, it their superiority, but in different aspect. Like my father's superiority in the world, so how to get money, and my mother's superiority in the faith, how to struggle in church, right? That. And so maybe I can be self of superiority or dominate also, because yeah, it's the bless from God, I think. Even my God still, what is it, kikis, and to build my heart to pure. But I know it's still process. So yeah, right now I think I'm not so pretty, but I see my face, I see myself, I'm very dominant, right? So sometimes I more be emotional, and not, yeah, sometimes bossy, also, because yeah, I I think it's my part of me, and I can't blame that, and I surrender. I receive that. I accept it for that. I am not fighting about that again, but when I have emotional tense, I say it to God, why you give to me like that? I'm sorry if I making you cry, but every I'm say it, God always give me one of another spirit, like give me jokes. I think not jokes especially, but good word to entire my soul. So yeah, that's it. And maybe enough for today, I think, because already 46 minutes. And the last, I think, to value, right? And if I reflection about, but also I ever watch movie, I'm not. Oh, transmigration or migration, like that. The title is like animasi or cartoon. In the family, just have mother, father, brother, and brother. Okay, younger brother. So and it's not grandfather but like uncle. So their migration from the one location to another location to get because to want to change decision and to get more fit, right? As long the way just one family and her own, but his own, his uncle, sorry, but they are still alive even many storm and difficulties rock also in their ways, but yeah, with God, um many um animal, good animal also to help them. So even they're stuck and really 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 upset or give up for their life, but always have the light, always have helper from other, and they're not expect about that. And so that's why I think it's really good movie. And even my faith up and down, I believe also my God will be always help me, make me loud, make me happy, make me upset, all or emotion. God exists in me. But yeah, for upset moment or difficulty moment, I think it's more longer, but I think no, no, but it's okay. It's okay even the upset moment more longer, but I can feel God in that. I feel more close, and I hope when I'm in happy and grateful and very joy moment, I hope I can feel God also in there. So I don't know what happened after this, and I don't know what happened in the span night. I don't know will be happen as long my life. As long I have a roadmate, I have purpose, I have vision, I have to-do list. What should I do? And God that this will be happen, come true. But patience is more strange because there is result from the faith, right? Yeah. So the bird is one of animal really, 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 really helpful for me to understand what is life and how to live. So this all for today and see you in the next video. Bye bye.